All right, Maddie, welcome back to the Ask Maddie Show. Maddie, how are you feeling?
I'm great. I'm hyped, ready to talk about crypto.
We had a banger show last time, guys, and now we have another for you. We have a lot to talk about, but first, become a CryptoCharge member. Click the link in the pinned comment below, take you directly to our website. Also, shop.cryptocharge.com. We got swag for you guys. And also, make sure you subscribe, and like this video. That greatly helps us. But today, your comments, your questions, your hot takes. We're about to get into it. Maddie, are you ready?
Let's do it, baby.
I don't know that name. Selling is bad advice. Maddie.
Oof. All right. Well, selling is not bad advice. It's all relative to where you are, where you've purchased, right? So I know a lot of people in the crypto space, especially if you're new, you really kind of focus on, hey, I have 4 or 5 good quality assets. I'm going to dollar cost average into this. I see people have price targets a lot higher here. I'm going to try to sell around these prices. And it's not a bad idea, right? And that's kind of my overall grander investment scheme is, accumulate as many of these high quality assets at the lows at my target accumulation zones and let go of these bags at end of cycle at target 1, 2, 3, right? That's kind of the overall macro plan. But I also want to try to maximize the money that I do have in the market so that when we do get to targets 1, 2, 3, those final targets, I have more to work with when I get there. So, with XRP, with Casper, part of the goal there is when we get these very nice swings in price action, right? Like recently we had a very, top of the year here, we had a very nice appreciation. I was accumulating Casper at 2.5 cents. I was, accumulating XRP in the low 30s, right? Just be diligent with that. When you see a very big spike and you see Bitcoin start to cool off at a key resistance level and you start to see altcoins start to cool off a little bit at those key resistance levels, there's a very high likeliness that price wants to retrace lower. It could be 15%, it could be 20%, it could be 50%, right? It could be a variety of different percentages that price needs to retrace down. In an uptrend, in a healthy uptrend, you generally have a move up and then a correction downwards, a move up and then a correction downwards. That's what a healthy uptrend looks like. So even if you think that the uptrend is going to continue, there's always a good opportunity to take some profits off the table, not necessarily everything, and then look to rebuy in at a higher low. So that will essentially increase your overall position you have to work with by end of cycle without adding additional fiat. So again, we only have so much fiat, from our income, from our standard jobs, from our fiat jobs that we have to work with, right? So we can say, hey, this is all the money I have to work with. But if you think about opportunities to trade along the way, the total number of coins that you have can be exponentially larger if you're willing to invest some time and knowledge into TA and pick some areas of interest that you might want to take some profit.
So, guys, this comment stemmed from a funny little thing that I knew, Maddie, we knew that we were going to get a reaction like this. Maddie was selling 35% of his XRP bag so that he can buy back again lower. I think this comment kind of encapsulates it right here. Guy says, hi, I'll still just buy more if that dip does happen. One ignorant sell move for a tiny profit and you wake up regretting it. Not worth it in my opinion. Maddie, did you regret it?
No, I don't regret it because it actually played out perfectly. When, again, we see these types of comments, generally they're not traders, generally they're not, seasoned in technical analysis, and they're generally not seasoned in very fast moving, volatile markets in general, right? I come from the foreign exchange market, so I'm used to a market well before crypto was, what it is today that moves 5 days a week, 24 hours a day. And they're very, very aggressive moves in very short periods of time, right? So I'm already used to that type of environment. So I've already also removed a lot of that emotion when I, come from the foreign exchange market because there's not even that fundamental investment side of trading when you're trading foreign exchange. You are trading in one direction based on technicals and you are going to execute accordingly. There's no, hey, I love the dollar, or I love the yen, or I love the pound, right? There's no emotion with that because I could care less about what these currencies are. I care about making money for me and being profitable. So my long-term thesis always has to include assets that are fundamentally sound that I really, really like and think that offer something proprietary that's going to change something within that vertical of that investment class. But I also want to employ a lot of that technical analysis into what I'm doing now so I can capitalize on that. What I'm at right now, I've already started to buy back into my XRP, is about a 20% drop from my sell price there. So that, in my opinion, is not a tiny profit. It's actually a very nice profit to secure and buy back in. I also, again, have that fresh fiat that I deposit every single month. Part of it goes to a fiat reserve bag. Some of that goes to a DCA and some of that goes to limit orders. So if I have a combination of both money I was already going to put back in at those levels, plus the additional XRP that I'm able to buy from the fiat that I took from the top there from selling a portion of my bag, I'm I'm now able to buy way more XRP if I were to just add on the dip. Now, there are, situations where you're in the bull market and maybe you don't want to be as aggressive and sell as much on these dips because it could just keep ripping without you, but we're not in that type of environment right now. So you guys need to think, what is the overall macro environment? You have a recession coming. You have, inflation still absolutely out of control. You have the Fed, who has not even paused rates yet. They just hiked rates again. And we're still very much in a bear market. We saw Bitcoin just turn over at 30K here, unable to break the 2020 lows. So, you need to take a full bird's eye analysis when you're making these decisions. And that's what I do. At the end of the day, you just have to execute and not be scared.
This is like, Maddie, we got to show them the sauce here, because these are what these decisions look like. Because, guys, swing trading shouldn't be foreign to you. You should get very acclimated to, because this is how Maddie makes money. This is how we do it in our community. Maddie, show them the sauce here in our Discord, how this play out.
Yeah, so you guys can see here, March 28, this was right about noon here. You can see XRP price was around 52 cents. It actually ended up going about 3 cents higher here, but that was the Pico top of XRP. And I said, might be a good idea to unload a little bit of XRP here. And the team asking, hey, it's 45 cents, it could be a higher low. And I said, yeah, it could, but I don't think we're done with the 30s yet. And then, of course, I said, how much is a little? I said 35%. So I let my team know exactly what I was doing and why I was doing it. You guys can see here, when we look at the chart, you guys can see that there was a huge fake out here. So we got the move higher. This is the candle. It moved about 10% higher here, 12% higher here, and then that was the top. And then we tried to consolidate here above this 200-week moving average. I saw everybody on Twitter saying that this was the new higher low here, even though we saw the exact same trap over here in October of 22, and then we got the depreciation. So from my sell price, right, so right around 52 cents, price came down 22%. So I was able to, from my first initial buyback, because I haven't deployed it all yet, I'm not being, overly excited about deploying it. About 30-40% of my bag I've deployed here in this 40-cent region, I've already gotten at a 22% discount. So, you guys can call it a tiny profit, but I have stacked a ton more XRP here by taking a partial profit. Because remember, I still had most of my bag. I did not sell all of it. I only sold 35% here. And I still think we're going to come visit, the 36 region here and maybe even the lows again. I still see that for Bitcoin as well. So, when you have setups like this and you have the technical backing for it, trade what you see, not what you feel, because your emotions don't know anything about the charts. Your eyes and your mind and your technical strategy is really what you need to execute on.
Thank you, Maddie. And this isn't an I told you so moment, but this is true, because I feel like a lot of people get caught up in this swing trading and they think it's a gimmick. I mean, Maddie, we've seen the people on TikTok that are saying, oh, look at this one indicator. This is the price move that's going to happen. And that's just not true. Indicators are to indicate,
Right. There should be tools to help you along after you've kind of made your technical analysis. Like you probably just saw my chart here. I have some moving averages. Once in a while, I'll bust out the RSI, the relative strength index. I'll look at the Heikinashi candles, but I look for those things as additional confluence points after I've already done my raw TA. Most of the TA I do here on the show for you guys doesn't involve really many indicators at all. It's just based on price action and levels, and you can make so much money being so simple with it. It does not have to be this complicated 50 indicator. I'm glued to my computer all day.
Exactly, Maddie. Thank you for that. Dryfuss is my name. This information has helped me hesitate over the years swing trading in crypto. Just like this, Maddie, right?
Absolutely. That makes my heart super full. Honestly, anytime I see somebody take the fishing rod for themselves and, feel like they're a little bit more confident to make some decisions and slowly remove some of that emotion out of it and invest more into their knowledge base, that's honestly my entire mission with Crypto Charge and everything that I've done previously into this with education about charting, foreign exchange, and everything. So really glad that this has helped you. And I hope that you continue to feel more confident in your decisions and make more of them.
Tinfoil hat, silver stacker, terrible move getting rid of your XLM. Maddie,
hey,
got
brother,
rid of it all.
Friendly fire here. I'm also a silver stacker myself. But when we have, assets like XLM, right? And I cover this in TikTok videos, and I think that people don't fully understand what rebalancing means. So I hold a lot of XRP, and that's a big reason why that 35% sell and that 22% dip was a big deal to me, because it represents 50% of my portfolio. So I was able to grow my portfolio a lot by taking some of that profit there and rebuying in. When I was stacking more Casper, and I've really gotten into Casper over the last year, and both fundamentally and technically, and been accumulating and also swing trading that bag, been taking little profits and rebuying in here at Casper. I've really done a good number on Casper here. when I reevaluated my portfolio and I decided, hey, Casper is probably going to be one of my biggest holdings going into this next bull run because I think it's severely undervalued. We haven't even gotten major exchange listings on Binance or Coinbase yet. So that means we're still early as hell. And I think that it has sincerely one of the best layer one use cases out there with real world utility that's going to be minted onto that blockchain this year. I looked at the total amount of assets that I had was under like payment plays, ISO 20022 tokens, right? And I've got other assets in there like HBAR and some others that I think that people really enjoy and that kind of fit into that category. XLM and XRP do very similar things. They both are focused on making payments more efficient, making them more cheap, the ability to send other assets over their networks like stable coins that, can take a fraction of a penny and, send it under 3 seconds, right? Very, very similar. So when I look at the technical case for it, I think XRP, first of all, has the better technical upside. I've been stacking XRP way longer than I've been stacking XLM. And when I looked at, how heavy I was weighted in that payment play section, and I was looking at, the Casper percentage of my portfolio, I go, why am I doing this, right? I have the opportunity to take a little bit out of a sector that I'm a little bit too heavy in right now and reallocate it to a sector that I'm incredibly passionate about, incredibly bullish on, and can weight that a little bit more heavily. Casper still doesn't represent anywhere close to 50% of my portfolio. So I don't think it was foolish liquidating XLM. Again, I'm not telling anyone to liquidate their XLM. I'm not telling you guys it's a bad asset. I still have in our technical analysis library all of the targets for the upside for XLM by end of cycle. I just try to efficientize every dollar, both technically and fundamentally, because I do plan on holding the Casper long term. With my XLM, I was never going to hold on to any of the XLM long term. Everything was going to be liquidated at the end of it. XRP, I'll be holding on to some of that long term because my cost basis is so freaking low. So, at the end of the day, you need to figure out what's my plan. Am I balanced enough? What's my long-term and short-term goals? And is my current portfolio as is going to help me achieve those long and short-term goals? So those are the decisions I made.
At the end of the day, Maddie, there's always going to be someone that's just pissed about what you're doing with your portfolio.
Right. It's your money, right? You guys decide what's good for you. This is what's good for me. It might not be the best move for you, but this is how I'm going to handle me, my money, and my portfolio.
Student of life, what is the best way to track activities for taxes?
So this depends on, if you're using a lot of exchanges, it's going to, take a little bit more work. If you do a lot of transferring around, it's going to definitely be a little bit more complicated. You're going to have to do some manual stuff there. But one of the best tax softwares out there is Zen Ledger. I would definitely recommend checking it out. It's very simple to use. No matter what program you're going to use, especially if it's just kind of third-party software, like Zen Ledger, you're going to run into the same stuff with TurboTax, where you got to kind of manually rectify stuff. You have to kind of like fix some of the records in there because remember, this is new technology. So, if you keep everything in one exchange, right? If you're doing like most of your buying and selling in KuCoin and you export that data, it's going to be relatively clean because it's going to know what you paid for it and what you sold it for. But let's say that you're doing a lot of your purchasing over on Coinbase and then you send it over to KuCoin and then you do all your selling there. You're going to have to do a lot of manually rectifying because it's not going to know what you bought it for, right? It's just going to know, hey, you bought some assets here, this weird transfer happened, and then you did some selling here. So over time, I think that will get better, but that's going to be the best way to go about it. If you have a lot of money in there, you've got a lot of profits to deal with, I would honestly not deal with the software at all. I would take it to your CPA, have them deal with the headache, and then answer any questions if they have them.
Nice, Maddie. All right, Maddie, it's time to ramp up the show with some more hotter takes. User too many numbers. You're feeding a bunch of BS. You don't believe in the quantum system, do you? Do your own research and get your facts straight. Read deep into quantum finance systems.
So I've only been in crypto for going on 6 years now. So, I don't have an understanding of really how this works at all. Jokes aside, I think that a lot of people have this idea that crypto is going to change a lot more than just making more efficient the system we have now. They think it's going to completely replace it in a sense of like, smart contracts means no real estate agents or no attorneys or no human input from this. And they think the same thing about AI as well, right? Everything will be AI driven. And I do think that's true. I think that, we will see a lot of jobs replaced, but you have to remember that somebody still has to teach this code how to work, right? Somebody still needs to, clean the code up. Think about the way that AI art works now, right? It's pretty good, right? There's a lot of really good AI art there, but a lot of pictures you see have too many fingers. There's a lot of odd things with eyeballs. You still need to continuously perfect the process. So I don't think we're ever going to be in the system where digital assets are going to be worth more than the dollar, right? Because, every asset has its own tokenomics. It has its own use case. And we can all, say that Bitcoin's the store of value and the XRP is the one bridge currency to to solve them all, and it's, everything's going to run over the XRP ledger, which David Schwartz has debunked and said that's absolute garbage. It's, there's going to be many mediums in which we transmit value. And, it really doesn't matter to me at the end of the day whether we're using dollars or Fed coins or whatever. To me, they're units of value. And I think that's one thing that foreign exchange taught me, is that everything is just units. When you're trading, it's how many lots are you trading? You're not even thinking in dollars anymore. You don't even care about what currencies are worth, because everything is units. So yes, maybe things could move to a quantum system and, things are a little bit different. But I believe that this comment was geared a little bit more towards the interest that somebody would pay you on your XRP from a banking institution. And, people think that, hey, if I hold on to my XRP forever and I never sell it and I accumulate as much as I can now, the banks are going to need it for me. They're going to pay me 10, 12, 20%. I've seen people talking about 200%, which is just ridiculous, on my XRP. But remember, there's still going to be, even if we're talking about a quantum system here, legacy financial systems that have control over those systems. And why are they going to let you, as the retail consumer, reap the lion's share of that reward? I don't believe that to be true whatsoever. So are things going to change? Yes, of course. We're going to see a different way that we bank ourselves. We're going to see different devices and technology that efficientizes that. I'm not so blind to think that, we're going to use the same tech that we use today, right? I was born in 1993. I've seen a lot of technological change over the last couple decades here. So I just want you guys to think about, the grander perspective here. I'm in crypto as an investor to make money, and I will continue to do that cycle after cycle. If something changes and they're offering me 20 or 25% of my XRP, great. Guess what? I'll still have, a good portion of my long-term bag to stake with those banks. But I'm not going to bet on the fact that banks are going to offer this at the pico top of the bull run, right? I need to trade accordingly. And if that changes, great. I'll go ahead and say I was wrong. I'll go ahead and take that 25%, right? Then nobody who would turn that down. Right now, the dollar is the most valuable asset in the entire world. And what are banks paying you on that? 0.01%, 0.1% if you're lucky. Some banks paying you like 1.2%. And it is the most liquid valuable asset in the entire world. So why would banks pay you on any digital asset? Let's take XRP out of the picture here, Bitcoin, right? Why would they pay you double-digit interest on that? So just something to think about.
Maddie, just to bring it back here for maybe people that, got caught up in whatever that was, the XRP is going to save the earth mentality, right? Bring it back to regular here, because we're truly talking about the future of crypto and how crypto is going to impact our future. What do you see, and how do you see crypto impacting our future? And what sectors and what areas are you seeing that kind of evolve?
So I would say that the goal of most cryptos, most true good utility cryptos, is to scale an existing problem that we have now. So for example, logistics, right? You have supply chain issues, you have, broken links in supply chains, and you don't really know what gets broken down until you get to the end of the supply chain. So using something like VeChain, you could document the process along the way. You can verify the authenticity of goods using the blockchain. You can efficientize an existing process, right? But efficientizing supply chains doesn't mean that the dollar's going away, right? XRP can, take away a lot of the friction that we have in the banking system right now. If you are a poor person who lives in America and you are sending money back to the Philippines or Mexico or to other countries, you generally pay a pretty hefty percentage on that to send that money back to your family so that they can eat and do all the things they need to do. So XRP removes a lot of that friction, right? Zcash, right? For example, we have, people who don't want necessarily all of their private credentials exploited on a blockchain publicly. They enjoy that privacy. Privacy is completely normal. And I think that there's value in that. So, you can say that some assets can be more valuable than others, and time will tell. I can't tell you exactly what's going to be the most valuable asset in the world 10 years from now. We could have new tech that comes out in the next 5 years that's 10 times more valuable than XRP is today, right? And I think that's one of the big reasons why I never want to close my eyes to opportunities. But I think that the solutions we have now are just going to continue to scale and improve the existing issues we have today, instead of just completely, erasing the system we have now and starting from scratch.
Love that breakdown, Maddie. Cole7810. Yes, they can purchase their own, but it's not enough to go around. Talking about XRP here. To get mine, they're going to pay what I asked for. I'm my own bank. Maddie?
Yes, you are your own bank, right? If you're using a cold storage device, It's your assets. You decide, what you want to sell them for. But I would look at it the same way as I would with any other commodity that people think is valuable: gold, silver, oil, right? Those are all things that people need, right, in order to facilitate, their customers, right? For, you need gold to make medical equipment, airplanes, cars, right? You need, silver for those exact same things. Lots of reasons you need precious metals, but, there's not enough to go around, right? There's a finite, as of right now, you can always mine more metals, but, there's generally a maximum circulating supply of that metal. But if, the going price for gold right now is $2,034, I'm not going to be able to go to a refinery and say, I'd like $4,500 for this, because this is a very finite asset, right? There's still going to be a going market price for that commodity. Now, of course, supply and demand will dictate that. Market conditions will dictate that. But what you're suggesting right now goes against what the market has showed us for the last 12 years. Bitcoin and the rest of the entire crypto market has moved with the rest of the legacy assets. They move with the Dow Jones, they move with the S&P 500, they move with the NASDAQ. So what you're telling me is going to happen right now has never happened. You're telling me that we're going to get a decoupling. And one day I'd love to see a decoupling, but you need such a dramatic catalyst to see that decoupling, to remove people's idea that cryptocurrency is a risk off asset. And I just don't think that we're going to see that anytime in the near future. They trade like risk on assets because they are assets that run on networks that solve specific problems, but it's still technology. It is still the tech sector. And the tech sector is incredibly sensitive, just like NVIDIA, just like AMD. Huge gains to be made, but they're very, very volatile, but they still move with the rest of the stock market. So, until we see that happen, I'm going to go ahead and stick with what I see, right? And same thing with like what I was talking about with the charts earlier. You have to trade what you see, not what you hope is going to happen.
I love that, Maddie. Last question today here, something a little bit more lighthearted. User, a lot of numbers. What are the 4 to 5 different cryptos that you focus your time on? So, Maddie, you said I only focus on a handful of cryptos. You have like
Right.
12 cryptos in your portfolio, but you focus on
Right.
a handful of them. What are those 4 to 5 cryptos for you?
Yeah, so I'm going to give you guys kind of like the cheat code here, and of course, not financial advice. But if you guys, said, "Hey, I don't have a portfolio," or I'm just getting started, and I really just want to focus on these assets from now until the next halving, I think that these are going to probably be your best bets, both from a technical perspective as well as, spreading yourself fundamentally enough. So that would probably be XRP, obviously, because it's a great payment play, a lot of adoption, incredible partnerships. You guys can go down the rabbit hole, even on Ripple's website, about all the ODL partners they have. I've, talked myself blue in the face on XRP. Casper, obviously, for enterprise, right? Being able to do upgradable smart contracts and NFTs, can build just about anything on Casper. I would say, of course, Zcash is going to be a big one for me. That privacy coin play, also just the technical upside. I showed it on stream the other day that the best case scenario for end of cycle for Zcash could be upwards of a 300x. So again, not promising that, just showing you guys the technical upside there. And then if I had to give you one more to kind of round things out, I would say API 3. I know a lot of people are big on Chainlink. I don't have anything bad to say about Chainlink, but if you want a smaller cap crypto that could potentially do a better tactical move than Chainlink, but employs a lot of the same mechanics, but using offline storage, I would check out API 3. So those would be kind of my 4 recommendations for you. Of course, you can check out my entire portfolio, all the picks, everything we talk about at cryptocharge.com. That's going to be the place to go do that on a more in-depth level. But if I could get you started with 4, that would be it.
Exactly, Maddie. You've been on a roll today. This was a great show, and we actually have to rush to another show, the Crypto Charge Live show at cryptocharge.com. So, guys, definitely check us there. Click the link in the pinned comment below, become a member, and catch us for daily shows, daily education, free tools, and you can see Maddie every single day. But that is all we have for today, team. See ya.